Hello, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services sales executives for our video message of the week. All right, this week's message is entitled Keeping a Competitive Edge in a Lower Inventory Marketplace. And today specifically, we're going to deal with buyers. Now, the tips I'm going to go over today, you really should be doing all the time. But specifically, in a lower inventory market, it gets more important than ever. Let's jump right in. All right. First, as always, it starts with the way we think. And one of the areas that gets us in trouble many times is we forget we're dealing with a listing agent. And we want to make it as easy for that other agent as we possibly can if it's our buyers. Sometimes I know egos can get involved and we kind of pull, we want to do it this way, they want to do it that way. My advice to you is let it go. Okay, stay focused on your client and what they want to have happen, which is be able to buy that home because they love it. All right, so what are some of the specific things we can do? One, communicate well and often. And sometimes in the mode of communication that the listing agent wants to communicate. Yes, sometimes it's frustrating. All they want to do is text. Maybe they deal with text and email. They're really not a phone call person. I know that can be frustrating, but do your very best to support them in the way they want to communicate. Don't forget to have your lender, okay? If it's not a cash transaction, which would be awesome, but if it's not a cash transaction, then that lender has to communicate with that listing agent as well, all right? In the same mode of communication as they want, but keeping them up to date that, guess what? I'll handle the loan is certainly not going to be an issue. Third, along the same line with the listing agent is don't forget to tell your client's story. Sometimes pictures can speak 1,000 words. Take a picture. You know, if it's a family buying this house, make sure that they see that these are real people. It's not just an offer on paper. Show them, all right? Show them a picture. Give them the story, the behind the scenes, how excited they're moving maybe from another state. They're moving their family, their pets. Everyone's moving into the house and it's special for them and they really want to buy this property. You know what? Sometimes it could be that little difference, okay, that gets your client to be able to buy that house versus somebody else who doesn't have that direct connection. Now, next, don't forget to learn, if you can, the seller's hot buttons. What's important to the seller? Let me give you an example. Let's say the seller really doesn't want to move twice. So a lease back into their own property until their property's ready can be a real bonus for them. Maybe not financially, but ultimately it really helps take the pressure off. Well, if your buyer has some flexibility around those lines, make sure you know those hot buttons so you can incorporate those hot buttons into your offer. Because keep this in mind, it's not always dollars. Sometimes it's convenience or just a way to reduce their stress overall. Know those hot buttons if you can. All right, next, set very detailed, clear, strong expectations for your buyer. There's some obvious ones that you need, okay? One, come in with your highest and best offer. Highest and best, all right? You can lose a property specifically if you don't come in the highest and best many times. And keep this in mind. If you don't get it and your client has come in with their highest and best, so be it. Guess what? That property is either more expensive than they're willing to spend, or there's other challenges within it that keeps them from wanting to buy it. But at least you know we went with the highest and best terms, offer, price, whatever the case may be. All right. I mentioned this earlier with the lender, pre-approval. Okay, pre-approved, not just a written approval. Pre-approved. It's so important to get your buyer in the lender and get them approved, done. All you're waiting for is a house and an appraisal, which has nothing directly to do with your purchaser. Strong earnest money is always a plus, sending the message that says, hey, we're serious. We're not coming in with a little earnest money. It's strong earnest money. And of course, few, if not no, contingencies. Listen, we've got to protect our buyers without a doubt. But if you have some flexibility around these areas, I want you to think about it because, again, it makes your offer even that much stronger okay, dealing with the listing agent as well as dealing with the clientele. And last, but certainly not least, you have to stay on top of the process. From inspections to appraisal issues, whatever you need to get done, remember, this is not the time to skip dotting our I's or crossing our T's. We can't even miss things by a day because sometimes that little tiny extension we need may not be granted. In a low inventory market, we have to be on our game, but we don't want to take anything for granted. So some of these things that you may say, will they matter? I promise you, it only takes this little difference that means your buyer's getting the house versus someone else. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll be talking more about low inventory markets. Take care.